Hey guys, in this video I'll be comparing 1999 British Grand Prix Ronnie Coleman and 1993 Dorian Yates. Both of these versions are considered to be some of their best, so it should be fun to see these two legends compared in their prime. I do want to mention that the video quality for both isn't going to be the best and that there were few high-resolution photos for Ronnie to use. Now, before the video does start, a like and sub really helps grow the channel and would make my day. With that all being said though, let's get into this video. The front double is an extraordinary pose for Ronnie purely based on his silhouette alone. His powerful arms appear twice as large as Dorian's, his quads, while not as ripped, possess immense fullness and sweep, and his torso and lats are just as impressive as those of Dorian's. Dorian does have some advantages, namely his massive forearms and unfortunately unseen calves, and his stellar conditioning is on full display. All that being said, his lackluster bicep peaks and the general, size discrepancy in the arms between the two is extremely noticeable. Here's one of the few clear photos we have of Ronnie, and here it is evident that his arms are gigantic relative to Dorian's, his quads possess similar cuts, and his midsection is just as tight and chiseled. Dorian really has no size advantages apart from the ones in the aforementioned areas, leaving Ronnie to dominantly win in most important body parts. Not only is Ronnie more muscled, fuller, and freakier, but he also keeps up in conditioning, allowing for a rather easy win. The front lat spread is widely known as being Dorian's best frontal pose, and for good reason. His flared, bulbous lats are matched by no one in the history of bodybuilding, and they stand out freakishly. Apart from those lats, Dorian's total package and aesthetic flow are near perfect, as although he may not be as big as Ronnie, his proportions are remarkable. In contrast, Ronnie is not nearly as aesthetic or pleasing to look at. However, the astonishing mass that he carries captivates many for sure. Look at the thickness disparity in the chest, delts, arms, and quads, all of which he wins easily against Dorian. Now, if you were to take this clear image of Dorian, you can now see that the conditioning that he has in the chest, arms, and entire upper body is rather impressive. While his thickness is not enough to defeat Ronnie alone, he definitely puts up a solid fight. Both are in great condition and have unique attributes of their own, so it really is a toss-up in this pose. Now, I'd personally go with Dorian for his timeless silhouette and great lats. However, Ronnie's freaky fullness, extreme width, great conditioning, and massive lats put up a similar argument for the win. The side chest is a true display of mass for Ronnie, as there's no denying that he utterly destroys Dorian in the arm, delt, and chest size. Dorian, while obviously not as large, poses in a classical manner which highlights his thick chest, tight waist, and great proportions. Since both pictures are rather blurry and incoherent, let's take a look at another shot. Alright, here it seems as if Dorian isn't getting rolled over as easily in the upper body, as his arm and midsection do look rather impressive next to Ronnie. Still, Ronnie's unparalleled chest, delt, and side leg are way too much for Dorian to take on. As much as I do like Dorian, these two represent two different eras, one which favored classical lines with mass, and another which rewarded raw size and ridiculous conditioning. This is definitely a no-brainer, as Ronnie dominates this pose with ease and wins rather convincingly. Here's the rear double, a pose which back for back is going to be extremely close. Starting with the lower bodies, Dorian appears to have the more conditioned glutes and hamstrings. However, don't let Ronnie's footage fool you. In actuality, Ronnie's hamstrings and glutes were extremely peeled and developed, and although Dorian has great conditioning, if not better, the size difference of the outer quads and the glutes is a little too much for Dorian to handle. Ronnie would definitely win the legs for that reason. However, the backs are where things really do start to get interesting. Both showcase similar width, however Dorian has better lower lats and drier separation, while Ronnie has tremendous thickness everywhere. I'd give Dorian a slight advantage in the back due to his deeper separation and similar overall development, while Ronnie would win the arms, delts, and legs rather handily. While the backs are close, Ronnie pulls ahead in the limbs, and since he is rather close in the back too, I think he would win the pose. The rear lat spread is like a clash of the titans, as these two have the best rear lat spreads in the history of bodybuilding. Unfortunately, the lower bodies are cut off due to the footage being rather bad. However, from the last pose, we already know that these two are shredded to the bone. Like the rear double though, Ronnie wins the lower body due to his colossal mass. However, the backs are super close once again. Looking at the two, we can see that both have defined Christmas trees, great pronounced traps, and very wide lats. Since Dorian's footage is rather blurry, let's bring up a second look. Here we can see just how conditioned Dorian was in the back itself, as his trademark granite-like conditioning is clear as day. Moreover, his glutes and hamstrings appear so diced from what we can see, further supporting how impressively shredded he was. I'd definitely say that Dorian's back is just as wide, similarly muscled, and drier than Ronnie's, while Ronnie has the edge in the traps, Christmas tree, and thin skin conditioning. This one could definitely go to either one of them, however, my eyes are drawn to Dorian for his tremendous conditioning, granite-like skin quality, and very competitive size. Objectively though, Ronnie's better legs and similar back should be enough to win, so I'll leave this one for you to decide. Rest assured, Dorian fans, the side tricep is where Dorian can begin to make a comeback. Or so it seems, as Ronnie actually displays a robust, shapely presentation. His tight midsection, surprisingly competitive tricep, superior delt and chest, and great side leg all stand out, and are very impressive to say the least. Everything is spot on and spectacular for Ronnie, however the same can be said for Dorian. His chest and delt may not be as large, however he has twice the detail in the midsection, the better arm due to posing execution, and obviously the genetically superior tricep, and great overall flow. Even his side leg is exceptional due to the posing, and that grainy conditioning tops it all off. While this pose is closer than expected, and Ronnie fans may argue that he could win due to him being at his all-time best in this pose, Dorian is also at his all-time best, and we haven't even seen his calves yet. If his calves were in the picture, he would win this pose hands down, no questions asked. As it is though, this is a close pose that would ultimately end with a Dorian Yates victory. The ab and thigh is the last pose of this comparison, since the most muscular was not a mandatory pose at these two shows. Now, I think the reality is that there's no debate. I mean, come on. Ronnie looks pretty messy here, while Dorian is composed, locked in, and very aesthetic. For some reason, Ronnie's mid to late 90s ab and thighs were really always all over the place, and he was unable to hold a straight-on shot for more than like half a second. He would always contort and twist for some reason, which makes it nearly impossible to freeze the frame at a flattering time. This obviously hurts him, as Dorian is fixed into the pose, presenting a deeply chiseled and sculpted midsection, well-defined quads, and powerful bulging lats. There really isn't much else to say, as Dorian easily wins the pose, as his shapely physique is perfectly etched with detail, starkly contrasting with that sheer, just raw mess of Ronnie that he presents over there. Alright guys, that's about it for this video. In short, Ronnie won this comparison 4-3, taking home the front double, side chest, and both back poses. That being said, the front lat spread, rear lat spread, and the side tricep were all close poses, and could have been, played out differently, causing an alternate outcome to this comparison. Let me know down below if you had this video playing out in a different way than it did, or if you had it ending up in the same way that I had it. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.